I'll tell you which pages I want you to do. So if you go to page 12, I want you to work on, well, you can't see that, right? Page 12 to 15. Pages 12 to 15, all the questions that show up there. And if you flip through it a little bit, you'll see a number line on page 14, for example. I would expect you to know how to do that, right? A line plot, number line. We use them interchangeably. So I'm going to wait for this projector to warm up. But 14, definitely a good one. 15, I need to make some changes because I made a mistake when I... Go figure, eh? Me making a mistake? What a surprise. I surprise my wife all the time. It's like, oh, you make mistakes. Yep. There you go. We're going to change page 15. If you go to page 15, the mean is 13. Median stays 11. And the mode is 9. So not 19. It's just 9. This is on page 15, all right? You're going to make those changes or else you will not be able to do. You have two kind of fill in the slots types of questions. Remember, these are also very popular. It shouldn't take you too long once you figure out the system. I'll give you your ACs back. So if we did one of these yesterday, so if you want to look at that on how to do it, I also did it in the first video I posted on Friday. There's one like this. Okay, so go to page 15, change the mean to 13, and the mode has to be 9, or else you won't be able to do it. Morning. So start with page 12. Hey, yeah. The keys are posted from 12 to 15 on Google Classroom. So that's basically the only reason you should be on your phone at this moment, right? If you want to check. So first you should do the work, then check. You got to watch out for C, right? C, you're not removing incomes. Those incomes just turn to 0. Okay? There are 2 months where you don't make anything. So you're not removing numbers, you're just changing numbers in your set. So you got to watch out for that. So here you go. So for the mean, it's simply just add up all the values divided by 12. It's as if you're making $26.95, $58 a month. So you're spreading out everything. Yeah.
Shouldn't the value is included?
Are you? Oh, you're C. Can I get there? Oh, yeah. No, I've already answered that question. So I'm gonna spend some time on that one. And then this one for the median, I will usually give you an extra mark for you arranging it. And you got to take your time. I use, for some of my classes, I use painting a wall, right? You first cut in, right? You cut in, you slowly go on the edges, and then you roll and kind of speed up. You want to do the same here. Take your time arranging this carefully. Once you have arranged it, you realize you have 12 values, right? Even 12 values. So that means that you're going to have to add up 2 values divided by 2, right? You're going to have to find, literally you're making up a number that is your middle. It's not part of your set, right? So I go 12 values divided by 2, which tells me that I have to add the 6th and the 7th value, divide that by 2. Make sure you do this first, okay? You add the top and then you get 2163, which if you look at it, it falls between these 2 values, right? Then you know you're right. So this, what does it mean? It means that half of the months, right? Half of the year, you'll be making less than this. Half of the year, you'll be making more than this. Okay, that's what that means. And now the controversial C question. This was inspired by COVID, obviously, right? In 2020, during the pandemic, she did not earn anything in April and May, so those values turn 0. We're not removing anything, we're just turning them to 0, right? So watch what I did with my new data set. I went 0, 0, because this is April, May. It's almost as if you take your top and you go to April and you turn that to 0, and you go to May and you turn that to 0, right? So now you kind of have to rearrange everything. So basically what I did is I went in this one and I grabbed my April and May income. So 2021, this one here, and 2891, this one here. I removed it. I took it out, 0, 0 here, and then I just rewrote whatever I had up here already. I just rewrote it, okay? And the median doesn't change really. It's still the same. It's the 6th, between the 6th and the 7th. So watch how I did my mean. I went mean, the number I had previously, like this number, adding everything up. I take away April and May, but I still keep the 12 values clearest, okay? So you've got, I'm gonna give you a heads up. Sometimes I will tell you we remove, sometimes we omit, but this time we don't. It's just that April and May now turn to 0, okay? So we still have 12 months, but 2 of them are 0, okay? So that's why I took away these 2 months, and this basically essentially gets rid of those 2 months, and it's just if you added 0 plus 0, okay? You did 10 months, in 10 months you earned this much, and but we split it over 12, okay? And so now your new average is 2286, and we did expect, is this 2286 compared to 2695 earlier? We did expect that our income would, it's almost as if you test, if you get 2 zeros on 2 tests, obviously your overall score is going to go down, right? And then our median has also slightly dropped, right? But the outliers affected your mean the most, and the median somewhat, some change, but not a whole lot. So median is a bit more reliable to give you the middle. Right, so what happens to the mean and the median when you have low outliers, right? The mean decreases, right? Since the low outliers pull it down, right? About $400 lower. The median has not been affected much, right? The outliers did not have a significant effect on it, because the median kind of stays close to where it used to be before. There is a change, but not a whole lot. Okay, let's keep going. Page 13. I don't know why I left you that much space, but maybe I want to get you used to a provincial exam, because that's what they often do. So students kind of panic, like, what? There's all this space, I need to do more work? Not really. So we have this electricity, we have all the months listed, and we find that on average, you pay $116 a month. This is what hydro does if you want to go on the equal payment plan, EPP, right? They look at your history, how much you've been using in the past, and they find the average, and they usually go a little higher than the average just to make sure you pay enough, right? So it doesn't matter what you actually use throughout the year, they'll charge you a fixed amount every month. I like that one because then I don't have to worry about the minus 40 months, right? I checked my bill. I'm actually now getting a credit at this point, because January was actually pretty mild. So I'm probably going to get some money back at the end of the year. So B, if the following year there's a heat wave during the month of August, the bill ends up being $449 for August, right? Predict how the average monthly bill will be affected. By how much will it change? Whose music is blasting there? Let's turn it down a bit. Prediction. Since this is an upper outlier, right? This is on the high side, right? I predict that the average is going to increase. Look at the values you have, right? None of these is 440, like not even close. So you can clearly tell that this on a number line would be like way up there, right? So it's going to pull your average up, right? The average is going to increase. I expect you to be able to tell me this, to predict what's going to happen, okay? And then I actually go ahead and, so see what I did here? I took my previous sum, right? I took away 121, and then I added 449. So this is removing the previous number for August, and then I insert my new charge. So now I have 1270 over 12. So my new monthly average is, so Hydro would technically say, hey, last year you used more than, so now your new monthly bill will be 143.33 to make sure you have enough paid in so that you don't end up owing us, right? And so then I just do a simple calculation here. I go my new average minus the old. So there's a $27.33 per month increase in that case, okay? And now I will do the, oh yeah, the number line. Number line, you ready for that one? 14, page 14, and I scanned this, it's online, right? A student in Mr. D's class received a 0 on an assessment. The score of all assessments are as follows, okay? Place the scores on the number line below. Do you notice an outlier? Notice what I did, I arranged it because down here it's mean, median, and mode. So median and mode are easily found when arranging. So I have that here, and I also place it on the number line. I started with 0 here and just went up by 10. I actually planned it that way, right? Like when I put that number line on there. And then you just go ahead and plot the values, and when you have doubles, you keep stacking them. Okay, when you have repeats, you stack them. So you can clearly tell that this is a low outlier here, the 0, obviously. It could be that you have like 105%, right? There's some tests that have bonus questions, and sometimes students score above the 100. Could also be an outlier, except for if you're always scoring in the 90s and the hundreds. 104 isn't really an outlier, right? It is still close to your scores. So anyways, so I label mean, median, and mode where they are approximately. Notice I put scores and then percentage. And then the mean, that should be pretty easy to do. The median, I notice it's even. So I go 10 divided by 2 is the 5th and the 6th value of the arranged set. Should be a number between these two. And I get 87.5% for my median. And that tells me this, right? Half of the time the student scored below 87.5 and half of the time above it. And the mode is 90 because it happens 3 times, okay? If Mr. D were to remove the 0, since the student ended up bringing a doctor's note, right? Predict how the measures of central tendencies would be affected. By how much? Show your work. Where the average will be most affected, we know that because we've talked about it a lot. The outliers affect the average the most, okay? Since the mark being removed is an outlier. Removing a low outlier will increase the average score. Remember, it's pulling the mean down. So if you remove it, it will bring it up. Removing it, okay? So here we go. We go 760 minus 0. That's a pointless move, right? But it's just to show what I'm doing. I'm removing that mark. And now I only have 9 scores that I'm considering. So yes, here the number below drops from 10 to 9. Okay, and so the new average is 84.44, which is much better than 76%. Right? It's an 8% increase overall. Okay, 8.44 to be specific. So I hope you understand. You're trying to wrap your head around it, and you need to make sure you practice. Did you try these ones? I hope you did. Because they're worth 3 marks, right? So when you have one of these, you start with the median, right? Put the 5 in there. That's your first move. The median needs to be in the middle and it needs to be arranged. This is on page 15. You have numbers 1 to 9 to use to fill this in. Next thing is your mode. Your mode is 3. The mode is less than the median, so it has to be on the left side. Not always, but in this case, yes. If the mode had been 7, you would have put 7, 7 up here somewhere. We make a note that this adds up to 11 already. We need this to add up to something. And to find out, you just take your average, which is 5, and you multiply it by 5 values. Right? That's 25. Anyways, there, 25. And then, so we subtract the 11. That's 14. So you need this to add up to 14. And there is the key, right? You cannot use 7, 7 because then you will alter your mode. You'll have 2 modes, so you can't use that one. Okay? You can use 6 and 9. No, sorry. 6 and 8, sorry. 6 and 8, 9 and 5 cannot be used. 9 and 5 cannot be used because then you have 2 modes, 3 and 5, right? So you got to be careful, right? Can't use F5 and 9, for example. You would have 2 modes. Right? Can't use 7, 7. That's right. Thank you. Again, you would have 2 modes. Anybody do that still these days? Some of your teachers, right? Repeat. You can't use that one. Okay. And this one, I'll just give you this numbers 10 to 20. Well, how about I just quickly do it? Median, mode. Why are the modes always on the left side, eh? Make up better question, Mr. Dirksen. I will. Trust me. It doesn't take that much. So this is 13 times 5, which is 65. I make a note here. This is 18 plus 11. It's 29. I need this to add up to 65. So I'm going to go minus 29. That gives me... Did I do this right? 18 and 11 is 29, right? Yeah. So minus 29. So that would be 36. Can that be done? No, you want the... Yeah, because it was, my average was 5. So it's this always that you bring down and then you multiply it by the values. It's always the mean that you multiply by the number of values. Because the mean is the sum of all values divided by the number of values that are there. So in this case, I took my mean, and that's 13 times 5 values, that's 65. This is the sum. Okay, take away, that's 36. Can that be done? $16 and $20. I cannot use 26 because I can only use, but if I use 10, that's a problem, right? You see the problem with that? I'm just going to put it down. 10 should be below the 11 because 11 is the median. So I have a problem there. Can I use, if I use 18 and 18, I have another problem. I have 2 modes. Anybody figure this out? I feel like there's smarter people in this room. 17, 19? 17, 19. Hey, I figured it out. That's 36, right? That works. Did somebody use 16 and 20? Yeah, 16, 20 works too. Yeah. There you go. So you got to know these 3 marks, 3 fairly decent, easy marks if you know what you need to do. Okay, let's keep going. I'm done now reviewing the homework. I'm going to stop this one here.